So this actually follows into what I wanted to say, because previously you mentioned that one of your idols, she, the one that is graduating in September, her color was orange in your
Red.
group. The orange one is graduating.
No. Oh, she's graduating too, but red and orange are both graduating.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
The one that you mentioned was doing it for 10 years is the orange one or the red one?
Oh, both of them.
Oh, my bad. Sorry, I misunderstood. I thought, my bad. But basically, so one thing I want to bring up is when I looked up Finger Runs, right? The group, I looked at the members and everything. And basically, one of the founding members, Ogasawara Yui, she is super cute. Let me link her here. She was just like gummy smile. I think she was the smallest, like the shortest member. And she was just jumping on stage, incredible energy. Like, oh, my girl crush.
Can I interrupt?
Yes.
Fruit Zipper was the name of the group that I was thinking of.
There we go. But the craziest part is she is currently 22 years old, like as of now. And she has been a founding member of 3 groups.
Yeah.
And there was also COVID. So there was a certain amount of time where she wasn't doing shows and things like that.
No, probably.
How young are you starting to be an idol? How, you said some of your girls have been in the industry for 10 years. How are they then kind of, I don't want to call it Frankenstein, but quite often, they're going to take members and, like, for example, your group, 2 members are leaving, they're adding 2 more members, but the group goes on. How does that work?
I mean, idols can start like so young. It really just depends on the person but I think a pretty regular average is like 16 or 17 to start, but like some will start at like 12, some will start like crazy young. And
and it was like, I think the show started at what, 8 or it started at 7. And then by the time they were done, it was like 9. And then the checkies and the photos and the everything. So it's a late time to be out.
It is, especially
as a 12-year-old.
I know. Well, actually, there's like laws in Japan where 12-year-olds can't work past, like a certain age can't work past a certain time. So it'd be really funny because like on TV shows, I don't know if this is especially just, maybe the law is just for TV. Actually, I'm not an expert, you guys. I'm really sorry. But especially there would be like some young members in like an AKB48 or something, and you would see them leave like during mid-show because they would have to go home because they weren't allowed. It's the same
thing in K-pop where for big award shows, certain idols, I think it's under the age of 19 or 18, would have to leave before 10 p.m. Like 10 p.m. they're not allowed to be on TV after 10 p.m.
Wow, that's kind of old too. That's wow. That's like,
I think maybe it's 16. Maybe somebody can correct it for me.
Yeah.
Because at one point, like in second gen of K-pop, there was a lot of groups where they had one member be 19. And then the other 4 or 3 members be from 12 to 13, 14.
No.
So they basically had like the leader be older and then everybody younger.
So the leaders left. Everybody else dips.
It's just the leader like sitting there.
All by yourself.
All by yourself, yeah.
This is my group. Like
yep.
Yeah.
So how does that work? Like so you start, what happens, like your group disbands. How do you get put into another group? Is it in the same company? Why? Because I feel like in K-pop, sorry, just to give an example to other idols. In K-pop, it very rarely happens that a member gets replaced. Usually in K-pop, a member will leave. And you can see that with even really, really big groups. Sujin left G-Idol. So G-Idol was a 6-person group. She left. Now they're a 5-person group. It's very rare to add a member. Red Velvet were a 4-member group. And then they added this member Yeti as a 5th member maybe a year in. That is Yeti.
Like
Y-E-R-I.
Oh, Yeti. Okay.
Yeah, Yeti. They added her a year later, which was very kind of unusual. But typically members will leave a group.
I want to be more an idol named Yeti.
Yeti. Hi, everybody. I'm Yeti. But they typically don't get replaced. And you see it in North America as well. Like in North America, musicians will get replaced, right? You'll get a new drummer. Sometimes you'll get, like, if it's a band, you might get a new singer.
But that's
right.
Rare,
like I know it is. Like, for example, Nightwish, one of my favorite bands, they replaced their singer 3 times.
Oh, wow.
Other times you'll have, Nightwish has different singers.
No
Tarja,
idea.
Annette, I forget the other one.
They don't matter.
But But
Matara
also, no,
hates
they
them.
do. It's just no, stop. I don't. I just names, but they do it also in groups where they'll replace a drummer or they'll replace a bassist. But I'm thinking boy groups and girl groups, right? When, sorry for this example, Zayn left One Direction, they didn't add another member.
You're right.
They just kept going. And I feel like that happens a lot. Like I know Camila Cabello was in a group. I don't know which group. But when she left, they just continued without her. So how come in Japan like your group lost 2 members and instead they're just adding 2 more members to an already existing group? How are they doing this?
Honestly, I can't tell you like why they do it. Why, like, the difference between like, in K-pop where it's like you lose a member, that's it. Maybe it's like, maybe it's how do I explain it? Like maybe in K-pop, and you can correct me if this is not the case, it's like that the group is just those members. Like you cannot imagine anyone else in the group. And maybe that's the image that I have and has been formed because they don't typically add new people. Like in Japan, like there are some groups that I'm like, seriously, if someone graduates, like I cannot expect someone else to replace them or like, but
in Japan, there's groups where every member got replaced.
Yes.
And
yes, it
like,
has happened. Yeah.
The group continues
It
even
does.
though every single member got replaced, which like, is that still the same group or is the group like, what is the group, right?
I know it's really weird because, like usually that does not work in their favor. Like there have been like for example, like Yurumeru More, You'll Melt More is like they're a completely new group and their popularity is just not what it was back when it was like Yonapi and Ano and everybody Chiffon is what I was thinking of. Yeah, so but so it's just like I said, I can't really tell you why. Maybe it's just more normal. It's just what they've always done.
And just so we're clear, they still add members to groups. And I know people are in the comments are going to be like, what about this group in Korea that added a member? Yes, but it is so much less common.
It's very common in Japan. Like with
in
Japanese
Japan, like
idol
you'll
groups,
have a color and you just, okay, you're this color, you're this now, and like have fun.
I think it's, I don't know. Like, I think maybe it's because like, back with like Morning Musume and AKB, they would have kind of generations that they would introduce. So it's just like, so maybe it started then where it's like, Morning Musume had first generation, second generation, third generation. And, if someone left from the first generation, I mean, you still had all those other generations that were left. And it's kind of the same with like AKB, like first generation, second generation. But, if someone left from third generation, you still have the members left from first generation and everybody after that. So it could be that it was normalized in that regard where it's like, yeah, so-and-so left, but we have all these other members that keep coming in. I can't say that I truly always agree with it because like, I also agree that if all the members of a group disband, and this is just my personal opinion, but if the members are not disband, if they all graduate, but the company wants to keep the group, like, come on, just
make a new group.
Just make a new group. You're still under the same company, so if it's like a song thing, you could always do covers of like the old songs, like of the other groups and stuff. Like,
but I think once you said that, I think it's because they're trying to leverage the fan base.
I think so too. I think that's also a big thing of it. But like, it usually doesn't work because, I mean, a lot of fans will become like, I will be a fan of a group, but ultimately I'm a fan of my Oshi in that group. And more than once, my
Oshi Trent Reznor.
What?
My Oshi Trent Reznor. So, sorry. In 9 Inch Nails, basically the thing is 9 Inch Nails was just one guy. What? Like he hired people. Yeah, Trent did everything. Like he hired people to like do drums sometimes and do stuff, but he did everything.
Oh,
until
this reminds me of Ghost.
Until like 2014 or something where he added a second member, like permanent member. But until then, like he was always just like, so I could be like my Oshi Trent Reznor.
He's first
Matt
generation.
Bellamy is my
second
Oshi.
generation.
Yeah.
But
Oh damn, my Oshi died.
oh,
Kurt Cobain.
I thought you were gonna say Trent.
No, he's still alive and kicking it. He's still alive and kicking.
But
I'm gonna start using idol terms for rock bands.
I do it all the time. No, I do.
It's amazing.
I do idle terms for the dumbest stuff. I'll be like, "This is my Oshi restaurant. This is my Oshi fast food chain." Like, I'll be like, "Yeah, Taco Bell. It's my Oshi." Or there's like a YouTube channel I watch of some guys that review movies, and I'm like, "Yeah, Mike Stacklasa from Red Letter Media. That's my Oshi."
I love this. I love this so much.
It's funny, but
Sorry, I interrupted you while you were talking. So
no, it's okay.
you feel that if a lot of members, I feel if all the members leave, I feel like
the vibe is
essence
just
of the group
different.
changes.
Yeah, exactly.
But I do think maybe 1 or 2 members leaving, the vibe, like the group is still the group, and I'm not against adding members either. I don't think adding members is bad.
No.
But again, if like you're adding members all the time or changing members, but again, it worked for AKB.
Well, I mean, until it hasn't anymore.
Yeah. But that was also, but they also had this system, and like there's a group that I think is
Well, the
heavily
thing is-
influenced by AKB in K-pop called NCT. And the whole point with NCT is that they're like 7, or maybe it's 17 that I'm thinking of. I'm so sorry. But they basically like, they have their concept that members will eventually leave and new members will come in. And I think it's because they're trying to kind of keep the name and the fame, but then kind of get fresh blood in and out.
Well, this is what happened with AKB's, I wouldn't say downfall, but like what made it kind of hard for them to be as big as they are, or big now with, I mean, and that's, not including like the rise of K-pop, because that that was huge.
Agreed.
A huge reason why like J-pop is not as popular, especially with girls in Japan and stuff right now.
I mean, look at me. I used to be only into J-pop and J-rock, and the last like years I was only into K-pop, and I'm only now getting back into Japanese Vocaloid and stuff.
Yeah.
But for years, like I was a target audience.
Another thing that kind of made it hard for people to continue with AKB is they had the group, but they had not a subunit, that's not the right word at all, but they had a selection of girls that were the most popular called the Kami 7. And like,
okay, the God 7.
Yes, the God 7. And like they were the girls that made the group. Like they were the faces of the group. If you saw, they were all over TV, variety shows, commercials, like they were. And like in every music video, they were like the top, like they were the front facing girls. And I mean, AKB kind of made that themselves because they held elections every year. And
I remember that.
Yeah.
We're like, they always did it was always a popularity thing.
Exactly.
Always.
A popularity thing. But as the top 7 girls started leaving, people were not so invested in the new girls rising up. And in some cases they were like, but now like nowadays it's much more difficult is what I'm trying to say. Like not to say that like people don't know who the members are nowadays. I don't, because I don't follow them anymore. But that's just my personal experience. But like, everybody would know who the Kami 7 were. Like there's no other, like after the Kami 7, there was no other new Kami 7 that kind of like.
I get it.
Yeah.
But this is also, okay, realistically, sometimes that's just the changing of the times, right?
Right.
Like no band really stays popular forever.
Yeah.
There's
true.
always going to be a new thing. It could have just been, like you said, it was kind of the end of their rope. They had a really big, super group of the 7 girls that then they left, and K-pop was on the rise and people got into different things. It could have just also been that.
Oh, I mean, there's a lot of factors, because they also had like rival groups that popped up, even though they were produced by the same guy. They were considered rival groups that also became more popular than them. So, there's just a bunch of factors. But what I'm saying is when certain members graduate from a group, like, and this has happened to me before, when my Oshi has graduated from a group before, I don't care about the group anymore.
Really?
And it doesn't happen always, but I maybe.
See, this is where I'm like the DDD where I loved Sojin in G Idol. I still then kept following G Idol and liking G Idol.
It's hard because there's sometimes like I become so attached to a certain member, and I do like the other members, but like when my favorite member leaves, they're like, I'll just be like, oh, it just doesn't feel the same without them anymore, and I feel a little more disconnected. And so
I guess if it's like your favorite.
yeah.
Like for me, right? I got obviously like I got into Gact when he was already out of his band and he was doing only his solo stuff. But I feel like if I had been following Malice Miser when Gact was in it and then Gact left, I would have just stayed Oshi and Gact, right? I would not have stayed with the group. I say this, but like I don't know.
It's such a complicated thing too, because in my brain,
same thing with Buck Tick, where I feel like I probably, if Atsushi Sakurai ever left, God may he rest in peace, I probably would have stopped Oshiing the group because the front, but that's, I feel like with a lot of visual K bands, like the front man is kind of like
the person,
the full show.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a little different. It's almost like a soloist with a band.
I get that. I get what you mean. But yeah, like and I am a type of person, like there are some people that will like a group if they think the members are cute, and there's, but for me, I personally have to enjoy the music to Oshi a group, because I'm just like, if I can't get into the music, why am I going to go see them live? Like I'm not going to spend money to stand there and be like, this kind of is not good, but like, this is not my thing. But
I am curious. Oh, sorry.
No,
I thought you were done. My bad.
I was just going to say, like, so it's not that it's like complicated for me, because I'll still like a group and I'll be like, I still enjoy their music. But without my favorite member there, I'm just so sad. Like, I think it's because I'm so invested in that member. And this is how a lot of fans are. Like, you become so invested that it's like, yes, I still want to, I support the group as a whole overall, but like, when I went and got my checkies, I got checkies with 2 girls. I didn't get checkies with everybody.
Yeah, with everybody.
Yeah.
We are so different. I am curious for the audience. Like, how do you feel? Are you more on like the me spectrum or the mid spectrum?
Yeah.
Where for me, for example, I'll give you this example. Blackpink, 4 members, right? If one of the members had left of Blackpink, even if Jennie had left in Blackpink, I would have still listened to Blackpink. And I think that way about a lot of groups. I think that way about a lot of, especially we're talking idol groups, right? Because it's a little different when it's like the front man of a band. When you're the front man of a band, you're a little bit more like the essence of the band, as much as I hate to say it. But I guess for me, I always look at the product a little bit more than just that.
Like I'm focused on the
so interesting that you really
success.
do. You really, really do.
Yeah, and so
which is again where the whole Oshin culture comes from and everything.
Exactly.
Like that's. And this is why then if you have an Oshi and then the group disbands and your Kami Oshi or your Oshi goes into another group, you will follow them because that's the person that you really like.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.